All right, it is 2:30 Eastern Time, so it's time to get started again. Before we get going, I want to again mention our sponsor. That's hired.com. If you're looking for a job or know someone else who is, then go check them out, hired.com/rubyremoteconf. The way that it works is they have companies in San Francisco, New York, and LA that basically participate in an auction for you. And, they'll provide salary and equity up front. Then you do the interview. And then if you are, if you get the job and you take the job, then they'll give you a bonus. The typical bonus is $2,000, but with our link, you get a $4,000 bonus instead. And if you refer anybody, they also have a referral program. You get $1,337 as a referral if you provide, that referral. So go check it out. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into our next talk. The next talk is Bundler to Ruby Gems, Long Live the Gemfile. And this is by Michal Papis. Michal is an open source developer, mainly coding in Ruby and Shell. He loves to help others to the extent that it's become his life mission to make the world a better place. For the last 4 years, he's maintained Ruby Version Manager, or RVM, but as of February, he's focusing solely on finishing RVM version 2. So we'll let Michal take it away from here. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. So hello, everybody. So as you already know, Papis, you can find me on Twitter as mpapis or at rvm_io. So depending if you have open source problems, contact me at mpapis. If you want to ask RVM questions, ask at rvm.io. I'm answering them both. I recently started working with stack builders, and I'm very happy to be not coding anymore. I'm helping others to get better in coding. So I'm doing pull request reviews and helping them and pairing with people to help them improve how they write code. So let's keep moving. I will be talking today about bundler to Ruby Gems, long live the Gemfile. So I want to show you that you don't need bundler anymore, and you can achieve most of the things you do with bundler with Ruby gems, still using the Gemfile. So let's go. So it all has a context. So without history, that wouldn't make much sense to explain what we can do. So let's start. In 2003, there was a Ruby gems idea, because before Ruby gems, everybody was doing libraries manually. There was no a good way to structure your code for Ruby, for your library. Every library was different, and you had to manually get all of them. You had to manage that all manually. So the Ruby gems idea was really great. Everybody liked it, and the initial work was done by Rich Kilmer, Chad Fowler, David Black, Paul Brennan, Jim Berry, which is no more with us. Those people started working on it, and in 2004 there was a public release of Ruby gems, but it wasn't till 2007 that Ruby gems got merged in Ruby, and finally in 2009 the first public release of Ruby that actually was widely used, that included Ruby gems, was 192. And in 2010, we got Bundler. Do you know that initially Bundler was Bull? For one day it was Gemfile, and till the end of the year 2010, Bundler 1.10 was released. So if you want to talk about why we had Bundler, why we should move to Ruby gems, it would be best to describe what were the problems in Ruby gems, why Bundler was created, and let's see what was the problem. So the first problem was library path. We know that it as gem path, And let's see a hypothetical situation where we have system library and user library. So we have two places where we can install gems, and those two places are respected when you load them. So the library path is like as follow. First, search for user libraries, and when you don't find anything there, use system libraries. So in Linux, Java, Python, if you call the library version, of course, the first one from user is taken. What happens in Ruby? In Ruby, this isn't true. In Ruby, always the highest version is used. So this is a problem because you cannot specify, I want to use this library. Always the latest version will be used. So this was the first problem that was in Ruby, that Gemfile path was different from library path. It wasn't working exactly the same as it does everywhere in every other environment. So the other problem was dependency hell. Before we started working with Ruby gems, people were just learning how to do that, and gem authors weren't specifying versions properly. They were just saying, "This is my dependency." In that case, everything every new release, especially major version release of Capistrano, would be breaking my library that had this specification. It should look like this. It should be specified. Every version of Capistrano starting from 2.15, and this is pessimistic operator which says till 3.0. So we are risking if the major version of of Capistrano is changing, don't switch to new version. So we are sure that our library is working in the with the new version release. But Java authors weren't doing that. So this was ending up in dependency hell. So every time we updated the project, we would be ending up with incompatible versions and nothing would be working. So people were writing down all the versions manually, and it took time, and nobody was actually easily manage their project. So everybody was using on the dependency. So there was a solution for that, Bundler. Bundler was solving both of these problems, what versions of the libraries were loaded, and which versions of the libraries your project needed, which were needed for installations. So there were good things. The best thing of Bundler was Gemfile. It allowed us to define the dependencies, the versions that we need. So we could say our project depends on race, version at least 3.2, max for, but not for 0. And that was really great. That solved a lot of problems. We're able to say, install these gems and load them. Everything was working. So this was the first problem solved by Bundler. There were also some good things that aren't that good in the end that we should reconsider if they are actually needed. And this is Gemfile.lock. Because of the dependency hell, we needed Gemfile.lock. But with time, gem authors get a lot better with defining dependencies. They started putting the versions in gem files, and most of the good gems, or all of the good gems, especially those that are widely used, those gems already define the versions. So Gemfile.lock wouldn't be needed for those libraries. So what it turns out, with time, we are getting security updates. And Gemfile.lock, especially in small projects that don't have some person, that don't have a person specifically for security, those projects would sit on older gems and wouldn't be getting updates because we have Gemfile.lock. So the update strategy is very limited. Without the Gemfile.lock, we would get the libraries in newer versions without any problem. So Gemfile.lock was really good in the past because the versions were not specified in rubygems. But with time, it's not always good. In bigger projects, people still can use it because they have someone to check the security and they can manage if we need updates or not and schedule time for it. But in small projects, it's actually a bad thing having Gemfile.lock. It also is not needed in gems because actually you want your gem to be working with everything, not with just a specified set of gems limited to what you have in Gemfile.lock. And there were some bad things that were not needed in Bundler but were still created. And this was vendor bundle. So vendor bundle was restricting the environment not only by saying I want to use this version of library, but also installing the library and restricting your gem path only to this set of gems. So it was creating another virtual environment for you and restricting the gems 2 times. One on the level of the gem home, and second on the level of loading gems, which gems are definitions are loaded. So this was an extra solution to a problem that was already solved one time in Bundler. And this solution wasn't needed. But it's still used and forced in some situations, like if you use Capistrano. This is the default behavior. You're getting extra virtualization path, which forces you to use vendor bundle, which isn't needed. So vendor bundle is something that was added extra to solve the second time the same problem. We didn't need it. And another wrong thing about Bundler was bundle exec, because the teams of rubygems and Bundler weren't able to agree on a common solution to make it automated, and weren't sure we should do it. We got bundle exec. This problem was solved in many ways. Some people started using aliases like BE. I solved it by creating rubygems-bundler. So I hooked into rubygems and made it automated. Detect if the gem file is used, if the program you are running is coming from the gem file, and if it is, start bundler automatically. You don't have to do anything manually. This happens if you have rubygems-bundler installed. Automatically bundle exec will be run for you in the background. And as much as I love people installing my gems, this is one of the situations where I have to say this shouldn't happen. We shouldn't need rubygems-bundler. So because bundle execs wasn't needed, rubygems-bundler wasn't needed. So these were the bad things. But finally, over a year ago, RubyGems 2 idea was created. Some years ago, RubyGems and Bundler decided, okay, we are duplicating efforts, let's merge back what Bundler does to RubyGems. And that was the plan for RubyGems 2. A lot of functionalities of Bundler was merged back to RubyGems, and it was released over a year ago, including a lot of functionalities of Bundler. But it was never promoted, and people didn't know about it. So what happened? We can use RubyGems, but we don't know about it. So let's see how simple it is to use RubyGems instead of Bundler. Instead of bundle install, we would use gem install file. That's that simple. Options. You can use it almost the same as Bundler, but it is more. It has a lot more, because Bundler forces you to have a log file, and RubyGems allows you to say, no, I don't want to have a log file. And this is especially useful when working with RubyGems with your own libraries with gems. So you don't have to create the log file. You actually don't want to have one. And the same with small projects where you would prefer to get the security updates automatically. You don't want to wait for something to happen. You just say gem install -- file -- no log, and automatically you are getting latest versions because there is no log file. And thanks to the good culture we got with Ruby gems authors that are putting the versions restrictions in the specifications, everything will work perfectly fine. If you think that gem install -- file is too long for you, there's a shortcut, gem -g. That's a lot shorter. You can always define an alias if you prefer to type bundle. It will be still the shortest command that you can run, gem -g in an alias, just for bundle. To replace bundle exec, you put just one line, export rubygems-bundler equals dash in your shell initialization file. And from now on, everything will be automatically run in bundler context in proper gems context using your Gemfile if it's in place. So you don't have to type bundle exec anymore. This single line solves the problem. But rubygems has a lot more. Bundler is just supporting Gemfile. rubygems supports gemdebs.rb, isolate, so you can use different formats. You are not restricted anymore to just Gemfile. You can pick which one is better for you. What's more in rubygems? rubygems does a lot more than Bundler. It allows you to use one gem home for multiple rubies. You don't have to use vendor bundle for every project right now. You can use just one gem home and every project will be using the same libraries. No more waiting for gems installation. You install them one project. They are available for the other projects also. So this works seamlessly. No extra work. Set one gem home and all rubies are using it. This is already in rubygems 2.2 and it's working perfectly fine now. So you would ask, can I use it? So there are some small issues, but yes, you should. You should, because if you don't try using it, you won't know. You will be always using Bundler. And everything that's implemented again and again in new versions of Bundler will have to be re-implemented in rubygems. So using rubygems instead of Bundler, you are helping people to decide, okay, I don't need Bundler anymore. I can move on, and the development for rubygems with time should get simple because we can finally start moving the efforts from Bundler to rubygems. But make sure to report the problems, because if anything happens, if you are starting using it, the developers doesn't have to know about it. If there is something that doesn't work for you, it might be just you. So make sure to go to rubygems, report a problem, and people from rubygems, sometimes I'm helping them too, will make sure the problems are solved. So we can finally switch to rubygems. Where do you report those issues? It's very simple, github.com/rubygems/issues. It's very simple to remember. There are some goodies. I wrote a simple script that if you still want to like to use the bundle instead of gem install or the environment variable, you can still do that. It's as simple as using this single function, or in the link above, there is a more complete version that will allow you still to use Bundler the same way as you were using bundle, if you prefer. But I think the commands are so simple that this should be like for okay, I forgot to type gem instead of bundle. Finally, you could say, but I believe in bundler. I would say put your money where your mouth is. rubytogether.org is a new place where you can actually pay for development on Bundler. I would advise against it because every time a new release of Bundler is done, there are new features. And those new features mean that somebody will have to re-implement this in Ruby gems. So we are duplicating efforts. So when you put money on Bundler, it means you want somebody else to have more work without money for it. So I would advise against it. I would advise that you switch to Ruby gems. So that would be all. Thank you. And the original title for the presentation was Bundler is Dead. Who has questions?
I'm still having a rid of bundle exec moment.
Yeah, you don't have to type bundle exec anymore. Just use Ruby gems. One line. Yeah, just this one line. No more bundle exec. Oh yeah, we could do that. Mm, I'm not sure I can share screen.
You should be able to. Whoops. Let's get that back for you.
Yeah.
So here we'll click this. If you click the plus button up at the top where it says bundler is dead underscore RC blah blah blah, there's a little plus button to add a new tab. There you go.
Oh yeah, that might be a problem. I didn't try the share. I thought I would be doing just the presentation.
Yeah, you have to install a client for it.
Okay, it's download. Okay, it might take a second. I'm not able to click download. It looks like it hovers, but pressing it doesn't work.
Say that again.
I'm not sure. So the download button isn't working.
Oh, that's odd.
I wasn't. Maybe because I'm on Linux and Chromium.
Oh, that's possible.
Okay, so I'm not sure I can do that. Yeah. So I guess the script that you can see here. The script you can see here, it's basically everything that you would need. There are still some things that aren't implemented, and the most important is bundler setup, which is used by Rails. but there was already work done in rubygems master to go into that. So you can start with a simple iteration through all the endpoints from rubygems and requiring all the files that have required through or a file to require. Okay, let's see the GS project. Okay, so I think that we don't need gem sets anymore. With the functionality of Ruby gems, where we have just single gem home, you don't need gem sets anymore. You don't need separate installations of your gems. Everything works since version 2.2 of Ruby gems. You can install everything in one place, and all the gems that you install there will be automatically filtered by Ruby gems. So you don't have to do anything by yourself, like manually filtering the gems, or these gems are for these projects, these gems are for this project. The problems like Ruby gems
What
being too
about
slow.
so the reason that
Which
I
instance?
see in the instance where you have, sorry, there's a little bit of a delay. The instance where you have multiple versions of Ruby installed, and you have different compiled assets. So things like Nokogiri, which builds against libxml, or some of the others, I found that they're not always compatible across different versions of Ruby. So if you're using something like RVM, then that might be a problem.
So this was solved already when the one gem home was created, and this was my first concern when I was discussing with Eric Hodel when he was working on it, to make sure that the native extensions are working properly. So every Ruby gets his virtual path at gem home. So every time you try to use the gems for different Ruby, you will only have to run gem pristine, and the gems will be made working with the current version of Ruby you are using. They will be getting a new separate subdirectory at gem home. But this is totally virtual. You don't have to do anything extra. Just gem pristine on the new Ruby, and everything will be working on both Rubies. So you only switch the Ruby path, and everything is working from this point. The native extensions are recompiled for this Ruby only, and you can use one gem with two different native extensions, but it's everything automated. You don't have to do anything by yourself for that to work. Okay, I'm not typing. So, more questions. There are some. Let me finish with race integration. There are some things that can be still improved on the race level, like Ruby on Rails hacks you to use bundler binaries, so they force you to use /bin of your project. This isn't always secure. You don't always check this, and many people just added bin to the path or run the scripts without checking. Did something change when I did update my project? So this could be a security issue if you are using bin in your project directory. So to use advantage of I think it's Spring, what's injected in those binaries. This is still not possible with Ruby gems only. But what rubygems-bundler gem does, let me find the name so it's clear. which one I mean. This one. So rubygems-bundler already has an extension, executable hooks, which allows you hooking into rubygems executables. So you can write hooks for executables. So every time you would be running Rails, you could be checking, do I want to use Spring? Do I have this gem installed? And automatically running that. This is still something that would have to be added, but it's possible to get rid totally of bundler this way. You could be still using Spring and loading only the gems you need, using only Ruby gems. Okay, more questions?
I don't see any other questions come in. So I guess we'll wrap up this talk here. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, there are definitely some things about Bundler that I'd like to. It looks like there are ways around. So.
Yeah, I will be writing a blog post about which things are still to be done in regards to completely remove Bundler, so we can make a funnel for Bundler and nobody have to use it anymore. I will be publishing this blog post soonish. I'm not sure yet, but maybe next week. I hope so. If not, anyway, I will be keeping people updated and yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, have about an hour before the next talk. So, go get more food, I guess. And we will be back with Nick Quaranto for our next talk at 3:30. So, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.